Hey, are you guys on the in the chat or anything?
No.
You should pull it up.
We have to pull it up.
Where?
So you can say hi to Upton.
Upton.
Uptown boy.
Straight out of Compton. Upton.
Did you paste a link?
Good
chance.
Me? I can't move my screen. I can't touch anything because if I touch my screen, everything's gonna go whack.
This hello is gonna be so worth it, Upton. I just gotta remember the English language. A becomes before after C.
Where should I be looking, Anthony?
Go to YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube. Oh my god.
Well, I knew it was YouTube, but
Go to YouTube / Echo Black Comic, and it should bring you to the page.
you don't do an at symbol, do you?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I think you do.
/ and then at Echo Black.
Yeah. Echo Black Comic.
Nice.
You have it?
I can't respond in it.
Yeah, you're streaming, Gary. You're streaming.
Down boy.
Yeah, you need to be a subscriber to be able to talk, so that's how it's set up. Gotcha. So you're not a subscriber to the channel. We all found out Gary doesn't care. Doesn't care about our YouTube following.
Why don't you care? I've been subscribed since day one.
I was subscribed to a different one.
You were subscribed to the guy who stole your art and put it on the Cyberpunk music mixes?
Well, I had to be. What are you talking about?
Gary needs to have Nitro, or else I'm walking out.
Should I do it now?
I want to see where file and list is located at the top right of your screen, left of your screen.
Yeah, you really can't see any of the information on the screen, but I mean, it's just
we
got to keep it secret.
It's just how it is.
If people know what he's clicking on, they're going to be able to steal all of his art.
Yeah, we wouldn't want people to.
In the warehouse.
We wouldn't want people to see his brushes.
I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, what's the point of it? Is it just
higher res?
Well, I know that. I'm just screwing around.
I
gotta do it here, or do I gotta stop the stream?
I don't think you need to stop your stream. I think
we could do it. We could do it for the next one. We'll just grab it for the next one. I mean, we're seeing more than enough detail already. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
No reason to hiccup things. No reason to complicate things. Make things weird.
Gotcha. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
I know we don't have a lot of the bubbles in yet. Is that just a placeholder right now on her from earlier?
Yeah, that's the placeholder. Shout out to Uptown Boy. Thanks for joining us again.
Big shout out, man.
We talk about you often. Every single time we talk about streaming, we talk about it.
I'm gonna do like a middle ground, like shout out. Like I don't want to do all the way up there. I don't want to put that bar, like, because I would like to, like in the future when me and him get more close,
right,
and we become friends, then I can do a bigger shout out. But you guys are already starting at the top. It's all gonna go downhill from you.
If I was on TV right now, I would be doing it. I would be shouting them out.
You are TV.
YouTube TV. This isn't YouTube TV.
What is your favorite minute, stupid little detail to draw, Gary? Because I feel like muzzle flashes just look like fun. It makes me feel like I'm a kid again trying to draw a lightning strike. I just like making all the little forks in it. Like that's as far as my artistic ability goes, and that's what I feel like muzzle flashes are.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to do, just depending on the type of gun that's being fired, they're all kind of different.
Right. You could see the middle ones there are different, more energy wise.
Right. Yeah.
Compared to the standard muzzles below.
Yeah. I love the kinetic lightning that you put on the gun. At least it looks like kinetic lightning, like the swirl effects around it.
This stuff.
Yeah, it makes it definitely feel like yeah, it makes it feel like they're definitely firing with like skunk rounds, while these guys are operating on something far more, powerful, and that really fits, the dichotomy of the resistance and the patron. Dig it.
Good. Glad you're picking up what I'm putting down, man.
I'm just reading into it.
Sorry, I need to find my character sheet for this for the girl.
Thanks, Blatu. I really dig this panel.
Yeah, so this is a what we're looking at now is a 2-page spread. It's double wide. And so Gary can zoom out in just a second, but yeah. So in fact, when we actually first started writing this thing, we had imagined that all of the pages would be this wide, but it never really worked out for us. So we went to a standard comic size.
Now I know that you guys worked more closely together on the storyboard of that. Why did you feel like the shift needed to happen? Like, I know that we like talked about making it more like a concept spread and more like wider shots as like the uniqueness. Was it because the transition panels were just too cluttered and it felt like everything was happening at once? Like, what did you feel was needed for the narration when we got to that point?
I mean, it's not totally unique to create a wider comic. Like 300, the comic is like that. The graphic novel is like that. It is wider. So it's not totally unique. Yeah, it does. I mean, it doesn't fit as well on a shelf. They can say that. Like I have this Mad Max storyboard book, and it's like super, super wide, and it doesn't fit on my shelves, and it makes me mad.
Wonky books. They don't ever get along. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one reason, but the actual reason that we went with that, we changed it before you joined, Will, was it just, we wanted it to feel more cinematic, and that's why we went wider, and we wanted it to be more like closer to 16:9 or 185 whatever CinemaScope. We wanted it to be that kind of aspect ratio for all of the panels, but in practice it just kind of didn't work. So it didn't feel like a comic. Like it didn't feel like it wasn't accomplishing what we wanted it to accomplish, so we had to scrap that. And that was actually a lot of work that we put into it. But that was before the Kickstarter. By the time Kickstarter started, we were already on regular size panels.
Yep. Yeah.
But
yeah, that's the hard thing, Blatu. Like, I feel like when we were talking about this and after I joined and we talked about it more and more, it's like this dichotomy that you have to walk along, which is the balance between standing out and being unique because you're an indie guy. Nobody knows who you are. You're small. You're nuggets. So you kind of have to have like a special niche. But if you do that special niche, you do that special thing, it's more harder to pull off. And especially on the first time outing, it's like you're constantly trying to balance between being unique, telling a good story, and being able to actually pull it off.
Yeah, we struggled with a lot of things like that.
Yeah, a lot.
Here's a weird question that might give away like your secret methods, Gary.
Draw.
When you design a gun, when you design a gun like that, are you actually just going like, oh, what looks cool? Or in your head, do you have a practical use for like what's under her barrel? Do you already have that? Or you're like, oh, I kind of like that shape underneath that, so let's just throw that in there and then come up with the purpose later?
A little bit of both. I mean, definitely because I know my knowledge is pretty limited on like firearms, definitely starting off with real guns and trying to find ones that are quite interesting, doing like a little bit of research behind that. And then a lot of it really comes down to, especially for our key players, I want them to have iconic weapons, like
the patrons,
clear silhouette of it, So,
do you have like apparel or a character apparel or piece of design that you just truly enjoy making? Because I feel like guns would just harken back to me in like kindergarten and first grade drawing swords and guns, and that was my favorite part, and that's why I never got beyond stick figures. But I could draw some like pretty fucking cool guns. I mean, nothing like this, but like, what would you say is your favorite little like fun thing to put on a character? Because it can't be the face. Face seems like the biggest headache of them all.
To put on a character. Hair.
Hair? Okay.
Maybe.
I didn't expect that, but yeah, no, I can see it.
I feel like you can make hair pretty like dynamic and swoopy and make it kind of fun.
Yeah.
Well, hair is definitely a huge characteristic, especially in like less detailed faces, like especially like in like anime, like early anime too. That's why I feel that they did a lot of that spikes. And
it's almost like liquid.
Because
it's like painting a liquid sim.
Yeah, and it's basically that's how you kind of make your character stand out, especially if you put less details on a face.
Yeah, I mean like Richard's hair there in the bottom right.
Oh, Richard. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's like burning hot in the office right now.
Open up a window.
Oh.
I got the air on, but
it's nice and cold. Nice and cold outside.
All the breeze is on that side of the place, so no airflow comes in this window, unfortunately.
Whoa, what's that? Is that a cheat brush?
I've actually never read Trent Kanuga's Creed, but it does look interesting. I'm looking it up right now. It sells for a ton of money. Oh my god. More than I expected. Oh no, those are the backers. Never mind. But that's, yeah, it looks like they did kickstart the first two. Interesting, man. Yeah, Gary's one hell of an artist. He's one hell of an artist. Terrible human being, just horrible.
Awful human being.
Yeah, just cannot stand the guy.
Terrible.
More than 5 seconds. That's why we're not all in the same room right now. But
constantly rude to the elderly.
Oh, yeah. Court order. Like, can't be around the elderly.
Can't be around elderly. Up Down asks how we've been doing the last couple of years. I've been doing good.
That's it. Yeah.
And we're done. Wrap up the stream.
I have to stay like for a bit. I had to stay like 5 feet away from people.
Yeah, I mean the pandemic has not been great. Obviously, hasn't been great for a lot of people. I mean, it's been easier, I think, for, you know, I haven't gone through crazy hardships like a lot of people have. So, you know, in that regard, I'm lucky. But, you know, it's just been all around kind of crappy.
I've gone through a lot of hardships. Most of them are imaginary.
Right.
But
as is your entire life is like that. That's more than just the pandemic.
I mean, my life's so bad I can't even make my bed. So
yeah, couldn't even be bothered.
Why? I'm gonna get back into it again. What about you, Gary?
We all die anyway, so why make your bed?
You got a new place. Looks nice. It's fancy. The walls are 2 different colors.
Gary's busy. Gary's busy looking for stuff. His walls in that office are actually like 5 different colors.
I just love that he's sitting just perfectly in the middle of the 2 panels.
Only is from this angle. I mean, this is the angle of my actual desk right here.
Okay, now that everybody's gonna know that you have a monitor on the floor.
Wow,
great, Gary. We wanted to keep that secret.
It's actually
it's kind of like the meme of like men can live like this and it's okay. He's just got a monitor on the ground that he uses for some reason. It's plugged in too, isn't it?
I just wanted you to pan the camera over and just have like Pikachu in a thong bending over, and like nobody says anything, and we just pan back and continue to talk to Gary about his panel.
I mean, that sounds like something that you would have already.
Do you have a layer over that bottom panel for perspective lines?
Yeah. Sorry, I've been kind of MIA. I've been like going through all the pages, making sure that there's consistency in the background. Yeah, I just put up a perspective grid just to kind of give myself. I mean, it's pretty basic perspective, so I don't know if I really needed it, but
Yeah,
helps people see.
this one's just kind of like vanishing point straight down to the middle.
Yeah, but it helps people see what we're kind of seeing because like I'm completely art illiterate, so this just helps me already.
That's true.
Pull the shot more.
That's true. You don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, Will, this program is called Photoshop, and what Gary's doing is he's painting.
Where's the is there like a cashier? Is there a customer service? What's the shot for?
Yes, this is
I'm getting
this
out of-
bottom shot. They're out of Jamba Juice.
The Jamba Juice. Okay.
Yeah.
So right now, Gary, are you filling in the background? Is that what we started on for this thing, or are you just kind of blocking the background?
no, I'm just kind of blocking in.
What he was doing just now was he was correct me if I'm wrong, Gary. You were looking at previous panels that have this exact shot in it, and you're just kind of designing the background to match the previous shots.
Yeah, making sure that as I add elements, it kind of has at least somewhat cohesive, consistent between the different shots. So
you got to be your own continuity editor. That's awesome.
Yeah. And if some things don't match 100%, it's really not that big of a deal. But you want to make it.
You'll be on a Reddit list. They'll be like biggest mistakes in comic books so far. They got that picture of Captain America where it looks like his chest is like 20 feet in front of his body.
Right.
And then Gary putting a cabinet where it shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
I see it. Terrible tragedy.
Big tragedy.
Yeah, you understand.
So, answering some of the questions that people have asked on the Kickstarter. Let's see. I don't think we have gotten any since we've started the stream. But one question that we can answer now, at least, is Andrew asked the question, has the name changed? So this is the first time that he's seen it, I think, as Echo Black instead of the Patrons. And yes, Andrew, it has changed. We changed it a while ago.
I thought
it was always the Patrons was always a working title that we were using when we were coming up with the idea way back in long time ago, like 2013. Gary and I were in New York, and that was just the title that had been come up with because it represented the elite class of people who were the patrons. They were the guardians or the influencers, the protectors of the lower class people. So they were called the patrons. And as time went on, I don't know. Maybe it's because we picked that word, or I don't know. But ever since then, like Patreon launched, people were called patrons, and it just became like this thing of like, dude, we really, really need to settle on a real name for this thing because we cannot call people patrons anymore.
Yep.
Or the book patrons anymore. Especially confusing if you're Google searching or something. Like, we don't want any of that.
It was going to find my own stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, you got a comic book? Yeah, it's called Patrons Graphic Novel.
And you're like, oh, okay, so you are a patron of Starbucks? Yeah, so it kind of get confusing with the customer name, like a customer of a place, but yeah. So it definitely had to change, Andrew. That's why. We still refer to those people, that upper class of people, as patrons, but it's not a major story point for them to be called that.
Yeah.
Gary, there's actually a question in the chat for you that you probably can answer better if you can see it.
Why do you suck?
Ah.
Yeah, Gary, why do you suck? Ah.
I was born this way.
Yeah, so he asks if you're using a Wacom tablet. And he's been using an iPad Pro. He's an illustration and sculpture major in Detroit. He was in Detroit once upon a time. Detroit in the chat.
You got my facts all wrong. Yes. Well, I'm using a Cintiq, but I still go back and forth between Cintiq and just a Wacom Intuos, or Wacom, right? That's how they say it.
Wacom
But
Wacom? I don't
when
know.
it comes down to drawing specifically for the comic, it's a nightmare to do it on an Intuos. So I have to do it for. I have to use a Cintiq for the comic for sure. But the biggest thing, the biggest struggle for years, I'm talking like years, has been this thing. The Cintiq is so huge. Like, how do I ergonomically have a setup that isn't the worst thing ever? Because they're just so awkward. And I finally kind of have one, so I've just been sticking to it, and I haven't been using the Intuos much ever since I kind of have a little setup here.
You've had like shoulder pain and back pains and stuff
yeah.
from using the Cintiq.
Oh yeah, right here, always.
Yeah, because it's really not an ergonomic solution.
No,
It's hard to sit there for 8 hours at a time.
yeah,
It's not like classic painters when you could stand, you know, and that's how paintings were done, is in front of you, standing up,
right. Yeah,
and now you're hunched over. So you might as well be coding.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Another question was that was just asked was, what does the Echo Black name refer to? That is in the book, and within the first couple of issues that's answered. So it's not a secret or anything. Like, it's not like this big reveal, but it is a story point that happens in the first issue. So I don't want to say exactly what it is until that is revealed, and then I don't care.
That don't make sense.
But yeah, that will be revealed through the story.
Did I answer all the questions on the?
Let me see.
Ever? But yes, I think you did.
So they were saying that they were experimenting on sketching panels on an iPad. And that's it. They were just sharing their experiences.
Oh, nice.
So they were using an iPad for a couple things, just messing around from what I can gather. They used to be a illustration and sculptor major.
What's his name?
Balatu 42.
Balatu 42.
We call him Fred around these parts. Balatu, also known as Fred.
Balatu, and I love to get Ratu.
That's good. We should write songs.
Yeah. We
Just
should
drop
write
a comment.
Simpsons episodes.
Yeah.
My name is Atto, and I love to get Blato. I had to look up what Blato meant.
How did you
Is it
not
like
know from
plaster
context?
or
It's just
something?
not a...
How did you know?
How did I what?
How did you not know from context? He's a drug user.
Well, I don't think it means drugs. It means smashed. Beyond reason.
Yeah, context.
And how would I know? Because I was, I don't know, in 1992, 5.
You looked it up.
And
You
I was
looked up-
definitely watching The Simpsons when I was 5.
And you looked it up. Okay.
Yeah, and I looked it up on Two Cows.
Well, 2 cows. Okay, I'm pulling out.
But he was a sculpture major, so that's cool. Illustration and sculpture. That's awesome.
Sculpting.
I love sculpting. Sculpting is so fun.
I suck at it, but
Yeah, I suck at it too. I like to pretend that I like to pretend like I know what I'm talking about when I go to the doctor. I'll say things like sternal mastoid.
yeah, but
My sternal mastoid right here on my
You just use a lot of Latin words.
gluteus.
My exterior postpartum depression in my shoulder.
How do you sculpt postpartum depression, Will?
Mm.
Just with a frown. Just with a frown.
It did edit.
I would love to get more. I'd love to get more into traditional sculpting. I think that would be a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
Like actually moving clay around, and that would be really awesome. Do you want to take a class? Will? Not Gary. I don't want to do it with Gary. You want to take a class, Will?
I've done one, man.
No.
Been there, done that.
I want to be a hand model. I don't want to like mess with stuff. You know? Where's that?
He's serious. He does. He
Screwdriver?
does. We're at the gym, and he was worried. No,
Oh, my
serious.
hand.
I'm not
Yeah.
fucking you.
I gotta wear giant
He didn't
gloves.
want to get calluses.
He didn't want to get calluses?
Meanwhile, it was so disgusting today. I got up.
We still actually. Oh, sorry.
It looked like a boil. It was a callus within a pop callus.
Ew.
I don't want to talk about it.
Ew.
That's gross.
It's fine now.
People are eating.
Yeah.
Like, not on the
Upton's
street.
eating. Upton's eating.
Somebody-
He asked about the card game stream that we were doing. The panel.
I actually just
We
pulled that
still
up.
have those. Yeah, we still have those, and we're gonna put used to them.
Yeah,
Sure.
everything
There was a
everything
really
will get
cool one.
used. But that was a lot of fun to do too. What I liked about that was it just didn't have anything. It didn't have anything to do with the actual panels of the book like this does.
Yeah.
It was more free formed. We can just
Yeah, it was more of a
we just
chill.
make up the story on the spot.
Yeah, that was fun. I'd like to do that kind of thing again. But first things first, we gotta finish this book, so we'll get on that.
Yep. It was a lot of fun. This is I don't know, maybe this isn't the most exciting part, but maybe people will actually like to see it. I don't know.
I mean, this part right here, even though where you're painting these shapes, and you're just kind of freeform trying to figure out exactly what it is back there. I think that's super interesting. Just finding that interesting silhouette.
Honestly,
know?
what would be interesting, even if you just cut us out, got rid of our ugly mugs, cut Gary's face out too, put on tranquil music while you're just drawing these shapes in the background. But somebody out there in this wide world will just like to see vague shapes appear and be erased and appear and be erased until they finally become something.
Yeah, kind of like
Well,
ASMR a little bit.
Yeah.
They've come to the right place. Do I ever see the lights in this fucking thing? Sorry, language.
Oh, I definitely do. Hands down.
Wait, did I call Balatu Jeff
I don't think so.
or Greg?
No,
I don't remember what I called him, but there's an actual Jeff in the chat, so I just want to make sure that I didn't offend actual Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
offended. He's pissed. I'm getting calls right now.
I called him Fred. Okay. That's fine.
Okay, thank God.
He could stay as Fred.
Fred's a good name. It's a strong. It's a masculine name. It speaks to your progeny to come.
May he be a masculine boy. Masculine son. Fred asked, let's see. Sorry.
You mean?
Fred said, "Hey guys, sorry if you've been talking about this elsewhere, but what do you think the general timeline is for this book? Awesome looking book. I think you said in the Kickstarter update it was 80% done." Yeah, Jeff. So I don't want to give another timeline because I've been wrong so many times. So I don't know how to say it other than like when we send it to get printed, I will 100% give a timeline. I've just been wrong so many times, and it, as silly as it is, I like don't want to again say, hey, it's going to be done on this day, and then again be wrong, and then go through a cycle of just ups and downs and depression about not having it done, and being then afraid to contact Kickstarter backers again and say, hey guys, I totally got it wrong again. So I'm not going to give a date and be wrong again. And you're not offended, as you say. Hopefully to what I'm saying and not to me calling someone else Jeff.
I'm offended for him though, honestly.
You can be offended because I don't care about you. How much money did you give to the comic?
I gave.
I think we'll give him
It's
one.
not about what you give. It's about the thought behind the giving.
And you thought about it a lot. I know.
I thought about it a lot, and I'm like,
I'm just saying, we owe more to Jeff than we owe to you, and that's for you included.
But you're kind of saying it terribly. You could be more eloquent.
Well,
Look,
eloquence.
I basically didn't look at Gary's background for like 5 minutes, and now it's almost complete.
Yeah, isn't that cool? You can look away, come back. So yes, that's my answer to you. It's a non-answer, I know, but
How about
hopefully,
this for a little bit more clarity? How do you feel? How do you feel the progress is going now compared to what it was? We can't really say
you mean what it
timeline?
was over the last 5 years, or
Yeah, compared to because of all the trials and tribulations of figuring out
Right.
how to do this comic well and make it worth.
yeah.
What
So
was
I mean, like, what's the answer to that question? Like, the core of that question, I guess, is kind of like, why is it taking so long, right? I guess because the answer in that is an answer to what you just said. So how do I feel about it then versus how do I feel about it now? Is I feel much better about it now than I do about it then.
Personally, from my point of view, I feel that this is moving along like a steady train, and it looks beautiful. Like right now, we're just looking at this one page, but Gary really just locked in with that style, and a lot of it was just fighting to find that style that didn't look like what the hell were we doing. It was like this mismatch of like what we thought we should do and what we wanted to do, and it finally it just took that time. It was just we didn't expect such a great welcoming, and with it we put so much pressure on ourselves to do it, and now that it's all kind of coming together, it's moving. Just I'm enthusiastic at the pace that it's moving,
Yeah.
and I mean, yeah.
It's hard when you lose momentum and when you lose enthusiasm for a project to rekindle that. And we've gone through phases of, weeks of nothing happening and being depressed about it and just not happy with ourselves and taking it really hard because we've put a lot of pressure on ourselves from having an overly successful book, nearly 50K raised. That's huge, especially for pretty much a first time Kickstarter. And at the time, I haven't checked Kickstarter recently, mainly just kind of out of fear of even looking at the website. But at the time, that we were one of the top funded first issue comics. And there's a lot of pressure that comes along with that. And we put too much pressure on ourselves, absolutely, because of that, because we felt like, even more, we have to get it right. So a lot of things have been reworked. A lot of things have been cut. Will talked about the art style. The art style it's within the same vein of what we've advertised, but it has changed quite a bit. If not to the layman who hasn't been looking at these panels for 5 years, may not notice it as much, but the real secret sauce of like what has changed is the process behind the artwork. So you may not notice a difference between two pages when you put them side by side, but the amount of time and the amount of artistry that went into the new page, the artistry is cranked and the time is turned down. So things are faster and they're better now because of what Gary has been able to figure out through trials and tribulations.
2 points to that is one is that what a lot of people don't know is that Gary is actually not a classical comic book artist. He's trained in concept art and design. Is that correct, Gary? Is that what you would say that your field is?
That is, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, Gary's been taking steroids for a long time, not for muscles, for charisma, basically. But so
What do you
basically,
mean by that?
oh no, just Uptown Boy was accusing you of roiding, and you're on gear.
You're
I mean, he
juicing.
is. Look at those arms.
He ain't natty.
And basically, a lot of it was learning how to move his concept education and training and experience into comic book field. And that was at first the first headache. And then from there, it was bouncing around again, that background kind of pre-production of every single page and panel from at least my more distance view of it, of learning, because that was really Anthony and Gary's like sweatshop time. And since then, like, the artwork looks more crisp, it comes out fast, and it looks, in my opinion, way more beautiful because it pops. Like, the big problem that I remember we ran into for a bit was the background to the foreground. And now, just with how Gary's designing the background and the foreground characters and things like that, it's I'm really enjoying it. But is there anything you could speak to, Gary, to kind of shed a little light on how you think you found your current style and how that kind of moves you?
A shit ton of failing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, when we kind of got the ball rolling with all this stuff, I thought I knew. I mean, a lot of the process, not for characters, like for characters, I would always draw, but like backgrounds, it was kind of like a weird place of, I was kind of approaching it like concept.
We're spending so much. I remember we were worried about spending so much time on the background and making it like so unique. I remember that for sure, and learning that we didn't really need to do that.
Yeah, so I mean, there was that part, and then but just the overall, the way that everything was approached was more of a concepting standpoint, which was just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a long time it took a really long time to figure that part out.
I mean, I would imagine because you spent so long in school learning your concept skills and design patterns and methods that you were basically, even though it's drawing adjacent, you had to kind of unlearn them specifically just for this. Not even because you still had to have those for your other jobs, but for this specific thing, you had to basically relearn it, like unlearn it to break habits. Am I correct in that assumption? And that's what took a while, was kind of learning that you didn't have to do what you were taught so long to do.
Yeah, no, I think what you're saying is correct. I mean, it was definitely not as easy as I expected to kind of get into it. Like, it's far harder. It's finally gotten to a point. I feel like there's been so many aha moments, and speaking to the idea of like what Anthony was just saying about the time it takes to kind of progress.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of those aha moments recently that's been very exciting. Not even just recently, but throughout the whole time, that's just kind of like made the process okay, now we're faster here, now we're faster here, now we're faster here. But for a long time, it was far harder to do this than any other work that I was asked to do.
And also, this had that huge requirement to backers weighted on it. So every single line you drew, it was stressful as hell, I'd imagine. It was just, I remember even just trying to come up with story things, like it was draining, just because it was like, we expected like a humble like turnout, something where we can go, oh hey, we could kind of show off some stuff. We didn't expect, everyone to show up and really kind of clamor for what we were pitching out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a second to adapt from just a couple of friends just living their life and be like, hey, we wanted to make this comic idea, to being like, oh, like everybody's here. And so we didn't lose ourselves, but it took us a second for sure.
Yeah, and that was another thing too, was that over promising, over committing to things was a huge struggle. So had we, and it's totally falls on my plate of like over promising things like extra pages, hey, if we get to, and there's a bunch of like articles or studies or whatever, analyzing the data, do stretch goals really affect backer turnout and all this kind of stuff? Honestly, I probably don't I would agree that they probably don't.
It was kind of like we were a bunch of kids.
But
on the
it was
playground,
like we went
awkward.
from 22 pages or 21, 22, 23 pages, which is like a standard comic, to 45, 46, 47, you know, and that's where we are now. And had we not done that extra promise, we would have been done a long time ago. Would it look this good? I don't think so. I think it is always looking better all the time. It would have been done in a previous art style, as we've been referring to them. I don't think it's different styles, but referring to it as that, as different processes. Let's call it a process. So the process behind each panel would have been different than it is now, but it would have been done. Absolutely would have been done had this been a standard comic length.
Mm-hmm. Well, also like I kind of felt like an analogy would work is that it kind of felt like we were a bunch of kids on the playground saying everybody who gave us a quarter would eat a bug, and then like the whole school and the neighboring school,
right? And then
like, the local
1,400 kids showed up, and we had to
and they
eat
just started
1,400
we had to eat all the
bugs.
bugs, and it was just like that's what it was.
Right.
It was the backer goals were like, oh, we could attract a few more from here, and we could do it,
Right.
we could definitely, but we didn't expect it to, you know, skyrocket like that at all.
Mhm. And Gary,
And basically puts
Gary's
so
mentioned
much on Gary. It puts so much on Gary for that. And we didn't even realize it because the story, we could write a few more pages of story in a week or two, like no problem. But the thing is that to put all of that like man hour on Gary was also very unfair.
Mm-hmm. But we won't tell Gary that.
Yeah, don't guys.
We
don't
won't tell him
Gary
that's unfair.
He still thinks it's
That
his
he's
fault.
stuck with it.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He won't know. He's a blue. That guy just looks like he's going, "Hey, what's up? What's going on over here?"
Pretty much is.
Oh shit!
What are you guys doing?
Can you make that guy William Dafoe? Don't tell William Dafoe though.
Yeah, he's got to pay for that.
I'm gonna pose my little action figure.
Gary, this is no time to play with action figures.
Wait, can I pop out just this string? So I can. I bet I can. I bet I can. You should be able to pop out a single string. Why? Why?
I mean, you can make it so it's like a grid.
Well, the problem is that
There we go.
you guys too far down, so I have to constantly like put my
Mhm.
eyes to look at you and guess your facial expression.
Okay, let's try this one more time.
Perfect. Sir.
Balatu said a while ago that you learn most from the failure, and that's totally true.
I think
Yeah.
constant success just breeds ignorance. Because you could just be failing upwards. And then when you finally fail at the tippy top, you fall all the way down. It's
Ooh,
better to rise through failure.
wow.
Quote me on it. I just made that
Yeah,
up.
that's like a great chest tattoo.
Hmm.
If you fail, failing upwards, and then
And then it'll be like a
the tippy top.
And there'll be like a chick like arm wrestling a dude.
Mhm.
And like,
Yeah, it sounds really interesting and good.
Gary, could you draw that? Could you actually wipe this frame real quick? Draw that for me, real quick. Just, this is why we're actually so delayed. It's Gary keeps on drawing us tattoo ideas.
Every time we meet, got new tattoo ideas. We gotta get drawn.
That's our next Kickstarter. I'm gonna be head to toe.
Yo, dude, put a pin in this.
Dude, we
Do
gotta
people
this.
do people stream tattoos? They have to.
They stream
Like
everything.
tattoo artists have to be able to do that.
Stream everything.
It's got to be 18
I
plus
figured out
though.
once they started streaming people sleeping, there's no limit.
That's like
We're
a
all going to hell.
but
This is
that's like a Twilight Zone thing. That's not new. That's not even internet age. That's
I just wish I could do that. Do you think streamers like who do like sleep streams like are like stressed out about like they need to get more sleep? Like I can't get enough sleep. People are just I can't get good sleep. They have to figure out how to toss and turn correctly at night.
no.
I don't like that you don't play long.
No, I don't think they joke over.
No, it was a good joke.
Joke over.
All right, I'm pulling out again. Put a delay on this comic
I don't know.
till we figure this out.
Till we figure out this sleep joke.
Yeah.
Well, you need to
You gotta
workshop it. You gotta workshop it.
every time.
We go to Flappers and we'll try it out.
Flappers.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, buddy.
That's the comedy club in Burbank.
I know. Now everybody knows where we live. God.
Los Angeles County.
Uptown Boy's gonna hunt me down. How do you build a user base? Do you have to how do you build a user base for Sleep Streams? Legitimately. I don't know, because somebody's doing it right. Like, do I just have to be pretty? I can be pretty.
There are people who do like prank ones, and that's what I've seen.
Oh, I want to do prank
So
ones.
like people will do ones where if you donate money, it plays like a air horn or something. So like
What?
the audience is just pranking this person trying to sleep.
This is,
I think
terrible.
you should amp it up. Okay, well,
No,
here's
you
the
amp-
thing. People donate enough money,
no,
you
you go too
jump,
small with it.
dump jellyfish.
No, jellyfish,
your
no,
bed.
That's, not, that's
Um,
animal cruelty. No, you do a new stream. It's called Sleep Hotel, and it's a whole hotel
Uh-huh.
where you can prank different rooms.
Okay.
And here's the thing: the people don't know, and so the people in the hotel don't know. And so when they get woken up, they'll call the front desk and they'll be like, "There's a bunch of air horns going on. Something's happening." Like, we don't got any other
Uh-huh.
complaints. I
Yeah.
don't know what
This
to tell you.
sounds like a lawsuit.
Well, how are they gonna find out?
Maybe the stream.
If you change the name of the hotel every time, they can't sue you if they don't know your name.
Okay.
Come on.
All right, you thought it through. You thought it through. You did it.
Good job, Will.
End of joke. You did it. You finished it. You finished the joke.
Yeah, we did it. We did it, guys. Like, I was really worried about the sleep joke, but you guys came through.
Mhm.
The chat was there, and
It took less
I'm
than
proud of it. Shut
3
down the stream.
minutes.
Shut down the comic. We're done. We did it.
We got the perfect sleep joke.
5 years. 5 years, and we did the joke.
That's what it was all for the whole time.
By the way, the guy at the bottom right of your screen, Gary, to me, in my head, he is the Japanese guy from Die Hard. I don't know why. So I need you to make him that.
The Japanese
no,
guy
the
from
guy with-
Die Hard.
The Japanese guy had, because he had a ponytail. And that's him. So you need to make him that guy now.
That's what's his face.
There was a Japanese guy in Die Hard?
Yeah, he's a Japanese guy that was in like all the 80s movies, like as like a henchman. If you saw his face, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I know who. I've seen that guy. He's been in like every Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, every Stallone movie."
I mean, there's a couple character actors who have been in all of those,
We're good people.
but I can't remember. They're good
You would
people.
see him.
They're good people. That's the way, that's what you're gonna go with. That's what you're gonna end with for
I don't know
Japanese
them
people.
personally. No, not Japanese. Oh my. Okay, we can't. You're gonna get us banned. I'm saying the people that reoccur in a lot of shows.
Okay,
Of 80s
character
TV shows.
actors.
Okay. All right. Anthony said that, not me.
Well, you said
I am-
it, and I interpreted it.
No, I like Japan. I want to say that now and forever.
Okay, forever. Well, you're gonna be eating those words. You never know what can happen.
I want to go visit Japan so bad.
Japan publicly executes Pikachu. It's like, ah, God.
Damn it! I can't go back. Oh, what am I supposed to do with my Pikachu thong?
Low key indie comic writer says that he loves Japan forever. Cancel. This is me going. That's the picture they're gonna use.
I never expected the Pikachu incident. Man,
Also, thank you for giving me this chair, Anthony, because now all I do is slide around the room, and I feel like it's the most annoying thing to watch.
those rollerblade wheels are tight, right?
They're super lubricant.
Yeah, it's awesome. You gotta get rollerblade wheels on all
Yeah, guys,
office
if
chairs.
you're gonna learn anything from this stream, put rollerblade chairs not just on your chairs, on your beds, on your children.
That's just
on your
rollerblades. Just buy rollerblades
No.
for your kids.
Just attached to their fingers.
Oh,
We'll work on that joke next, guys.
yeah, that will be. We'll next time we stream, we'll workshop that one around rollerblade fingers. So to circle back to getting serious again here, Jeff also asked about what percentage is done. So he asked for the timeline, but he also asked for what percentage is done. And
Yeah, Uptown Boy. We'll talk to you later, man. Have a good night.
oh, Upton's leaving.
Yeah, it's almost midnight.
See you, dude. Thanks for thanks for sticking around, man. Thanks for joining us.
That
You're
means
awesome.
so much, dude.
I'll always
Seriously.
be downtown boy, but not in that way. But like
So much.
maybe one day.
So yeah, it's hard to answer that question because there's so much work that has gone into the book that, I mean, if you want to put all of the work together, you can pretty much say like, okay, 95% of the work has been done for this book.
I feel like because of the changes, we've been 80% done several times.
Yeah, we have, for sure. So he referenced 80% is the last update that I gave. I said we're 80%. And I think we're still around that 80%, but that is not to say that no work was done since that last update. Work has been done, and then work has been redone. And we've mentioned the artistic process, you know, a couple times in the stream, and I want to say that we're not striving for perfection in this book, you know. There's been plenty of times where we've but we've said enough is enough for certain panels, for certain story elements. We've said enough is enough. This is what it is. So we're not seeking perfection, but what we are seeking is good enough. And
that we can stand by.
We have that standard set for ourselves, and it's something that we're going to stick to that. But perfection is not something that we're chasing. So I just want to make sure that that is out there when I say that things are reworked and things are redone. So, you know, more than half the book is done, and the rest of the panels are in various states. So there's panels like this one, there's panels that are less done than this, there are panels that are more done than this. So it's hard to say exactly what that percentage is. But yeah, that's where we are. So yeah, 80%.
Every magnum, I feel, and also to Latu's point, like I feel like every single magnum opus that an artist ever tries to do has always been like, for example, like I'm just gonna grab, Guns N' Roses, their magnum opus, Chinese Democracy. What was it? Was that it? Took them like however many years to accomplish, and it was completely forgettable. Is that there's definitely a certain point where your art eats itself when it consumes itself and it becomes something it was never meant to become, because you're just constantly reworking it. It no longer has that raw flow, and it's as an artist, it's like that forever struggle of finding as close to perfection but as honest to yourself, because yeah, I mean, beauty is in the flaws. I mean, without it, it's just kind of an uncanny valley of alien, because humans are all flawed, and so if you're constantly trying to remove the flaws, you remove all the beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that's a hard one to balance? And Blatu just said it's for visual artists. Gary, do you find that that you get stuck in that, especially maybe early on in your career when you were working your main gig? Do you find that you were constantly chasing perfectionism for a while and it was killing you?
Yeah, man. I'm probably the most guilty of that. It took me a long time to even be somewhat manageable with it.
Yeah. There was times I was afraid to write a single sentence because it had to be perfect. And the sooner I started writing rawer sentences and rawer paragraphs, the more I finished. And the more after I went back, because I realized that you can always go back and edit. You can always change little tiny things. It doesn't need to be perfect. And then when you go back and change, it still doesn't need to be perfect. But I found that it was a much more concise and beautiful thing than just constantly reworking a sentence about somebody buying milk. No, it's not good enough. It's not drawing the eye. It's boring. And so, you know, some sentences are supposed to be boring. Some objects in the background are supposed to be a box. Like, you can't perfect things. There's this, yeah.
There's a difference between like a theoretical perfection and a what you would just kind of say is perfect, you know? So like
That's true, but that's the hard
That's-
part because opinions, art is opinion. So it's an impossibility to have a perfect opinion that would hit everybody with perfection. So if you're chasing perfection,
what I was gonna say was it's boring. Like
Mannequin.
perfection is boring. You know,
technically a mannequin.
It is those
featureless.
flaws that give it life, and that's, you know, I think that's one thing too to think about when in the future landscape with like AI and stuff. Is AI going to be programmed to include life into its simulations?
I mean, we're a little late into the stream to get into the whole idea of the creativity of the human soul versus can it be mathematically equationed out? I mean, that's maybe something for next time, but I definitely agree. I think that there's maybe just because we're creatives, I think there's definitely a thing about humans because the mistakes we make. They'll try to learn it, but humans will always find better ways to make more mistakes. Maybe that's what we'll show. We'll always make mistakes better than AI. We always will.
I'm gonna make you eat those words. I'm gonna study AI from here on out.
Oh no, then the AI kills Pikachu, and it's like, ah.
Yeah, and it comes full circle back in Japan.
Ever. Yeah.
AI cancels Japan. Indie comic book writer
And
sacrificed.
Also, we believe in Ball now. Satan's back on the rise, and the sky's made out of fire.
Oh no!
You know that you kind of touched on something that was kind of interesting. I don't know.
Shout out to Nate.
Nate.
Hey Nate.
Nathan.
That's all. Next.
In the chat.
So what were you saying, Gare?
Oh, Anthony's
Well,
going rogue. I think he got paid by Nathan to shout him out,
Yep.
and I think that we should get a cut of that.
Okay.
Hashtag sponsored. Put that in the thing. What were you saying, Gary? Who did I interrupt for my dumb joke? It was a good joke, but I'm humble.
I don't even know.
He's gone. He forgot.
Maybe it's like too much of an AI path, but it was just kind of interesting because it's like you're talking about the life and mistakes and stuff like that. How much, and maybe it's just me as an artist, but I so much more prefer looking at like sketches than, not so much prefer it over like final results, but like there could just be sketches of models, right? From like
these naked models.
A live hunt.
Are these naked models, Gary?
Sure, it could be.
Pervert.
And it's like, yeah, you can just take a picture of it, and look, that captures it one for one. That's exactly it. But like, why do we look at art in the first place? Like, why is that sketch and like seeing the lines of that kind of like bleed through of the initial sketch and stuff?
No, actually, I think you have a great point. And that's one thing I've learned, at least from writing, because working on my own writing stuff and reading, artist blogs and artist books or writers books about just how to become better at it, is they constantly tell you don't over detail, because there's no pattern of words on the planet that is better than the human imagination filling in those words. And I feel like it could be the same way with art, where you're seeing that sketch, your imagination is filling in everything else, and it's 1,000 times more beautiful than anything AI can ever produce. And I'm going to eat those words, because AI is going to draw a picture of Pikachu being executed, and it's going to be like, but we don't need to go into that. But I definitely agree. Like the imagination of the viewer, of the reader, is going to make your drawing 1 billion times better. And it's all about bringing out that imagination in that audience member. That is what art is. That is what writing is. And
hopefully, and hopefully that rings true.
I think that's what
time
rings
to
true
come.
most things. Well, I mean, even looking like Hemingway and like some of the most renowned writers are actually pretty simplistic in their writing, but their prose and how they describe things makes you fill yourself with imagination. It kind of begs for it, and that's what good work is. Good work is you're drawing this scene, and what's good about it is you're gonna have the people reading it imagining it in motion.
I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening to what you're saying.
I kind of tuned out myself.
Damon Rath is here. Damon Rath is here, everybody. From Germany?
Damon.
I don't know where he's actually from. I think he's from Germany. He was back.
It's a good villain name. It's
back in Twitch. He was there too. When we were doing our previous streams.
Name sounds very familiar.
I think we even commented that he sounded like a supervillain. I definitely
absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm funny because I would make that kind of joke.
Right.
Like, I know me. Everybody was laughing.
Everybody.
All right. I think this is good to start actually drawing up.
All right, let's start the stream.
We're going live, right?
You hit the live button.
I like all these AI bots you put in.
Damon lives in Nebraska.
No, Nebraska, Germany, Anthony. Come on, be cultured.
Like Paris, Texas?
Yeah.
Nebraska, Germany.
Yeah, remember like that big like
maybe the joke was that Damon Rath sounds German. And therefore,
I don't know where you got German from. I think
therefore an evil
and
villain.
You just want a friend. No, Damien Rath sounds like a vampire king, like the kingdom of Damien Rath.
Well, Germany's a lot closer to vampires than the United States, than Nebraska.
I'm just saying that, like, I trust Damien Rath to save my family.
You keep on saying Damien. You keep on saying Damien. It's not Damien.
This happened before. I guarantee it.
I guarantee it happened.
I
don't like being picked on. It's not like my thing, man.
So you turn around.
No, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna participate. In my mind, he's Damien. Sure, it's Damon, but like, come on, it's just short for Damien.
Is your hair curly?
Yes, my hair is curly.
like a poodle.
Like a poodle, yes. I'm gonna.
It's so you're such a small thumbnail. You're such a small thumbnail. You look like you had dog hair.
Why is this funny? I was doing way better jokes earlier. Dog hair? Yeah, okay. All right.
You had dog ears.
I don't have dog. No.
Excuse me.
You're just doing the joke from I think you should leave.
That's why it's so funny to me, because instantly it hit me. I'm not doing okay. I'm not doing all right.
You know what it is? Yeah. So Damien Rath is his alter ego, and Damon Rath is like his normal. Like Damon Rath. Yeah. Thank you.
Who's agreeing with you in the chat? Stop that.
I have fans. We call them the Will Winkers. My own army.
Oh man. Okay. What other questions can we answer about the comic?
Where do you get off?
Good. Funny.
Thanks.
I mean, I think I answered the questions that were prosed on Kickstarter. I haven't got any more notifications since we started this stream, so. And I'm afraid to open it up because I don't want to.
We're here with you.
I just don't want to end up ending the stream or something. So I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it on my computer.
We can hit it next time on the next stream.
That's true.
We'll just like have like a questions corner with Anthony. Put a sweater vest on. You can sit down with a cup of tea. Just cry. When you work at the, like, for example, yeah. When you get back, when you work on a piece, Gary, do you have a methodology of how you move through it? Like, you were just working on the background and you were like, I'm satisfied for now, and then move to the foreground? Or are you kind of, what kind of moves you through a panel to work on what? Or is it kind of just madness? And it's fine for madness. It's you're being pulled to what inspires you.
I'm still trying to, like, I'm at a place where I still need to kind of take it a certain to a certain point before I'm ready to kind of do what maybe other comic artists that I look up to are able to do. Like for me, you know, I have to take this, you know, not everyone does this, but this is kind of my method of being able to move forward with creating decent backgrounds and stuff. So I gotta, like, you know, you can kind of see it here. You know, I have to sketch it out in a value kind of way, and then I can kind of move into line drawing. And that's one of those things that we talked about before of, like, you know, trying our process being expedited and being quicker and quicker. Like, that's, to me, that's the next step, is that once I'm able to kind of skip this step, and I'm so like used to it and I can just jump right into it, that's going to trim off even more time and make it something that's just very natural. So basically, to answer your question, I just kind of take it as far as I need to kind of know, like, these are just shapes. And specifically with line and comic anyway, it's not like everything's going to be detailed. Like, a lot of it's just going to be suggested. So I take it to a place in a shape form for me to kind of know, like, what, like, where I'm going to, like, I have this very specific vent that's up here that I'm going to have to, you know, detail, because that shows up in other shots and stuff like that. But, like, these boxes back here, it's just suggested enough that where I can kind of, like, build on top of with line work.
Yeah, but what's in those boxes?
What's in the boxes?
Yeah. What's in the box?
Greebles.
What's in the box?
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Greeblies.
I mean, it's more than that. I mean, it's a lot of do we discuss it?
I was thinking
no. We won't discuss that right now.
I mean, it's nothing like crazy, but
Balatu asks, do you put backgrounds in your thumbs?
I
mean, they're there. They're not more than just, like, suggestions, really.
I mean, it
got it.
depends. Let's see if I can pull up something that's like.
The joke was supposed to be, you guys were supposed to say Cameron Diaz's head, but, like, whatever.
Right.
It's like,
because that would have been Gwyneth Paltrow's head. Absolutely, Cameron Diaz and Gwyneth Paltrow are the same person.
Same. They're the same people.
Mm-hmm.
They both were in Mask. They both started Goop.
They didn't.
I have approximate knowledge of all things. All right, I'm not right. I'm just close. You knew that when you met me.
They're both women with hair.
They both stand between 5 feet and 6 feet.
I guarantee they've both met Brad Pitt. I guarantee it.
At least 2 times. Maybe 3.
Like,
they're
are real quick, are we talking like when he asked that question, thumbnails as in, like, the rough storyboard stuff, right? I assume that's
yeah question. I mean, overall, like, in your standard artwork, it's there.
Like, so this is what this page was as a storyboard.
I was gonna say, that's not even close. It was way off.
So this was it as a storyboard,
right?
And then, so it's like, it's kind of.
Yeah, I mean, so in the bottom panel, for instance, that storage rack isn't there, but if you look at the top panel, there's a lot more going on. And that middle panel is completely just 100% suggestion.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of in the final. It's you're pretty much looking at a wall anyway, so it's gonna be a lot of mood and particles.
I kind of miss that. I kind of totally dig that bullet whizzing off his helmet though.
Ba-ding.
It was
It
cool.
won't,
But
yeah, it won't fit in the Flash. Yeah.
yeah. I really liked the staging of this, but they were all left-handed.
I'm left-handed. What are you trying to say?
Not everyone shoots left-handed.
It would work for them. Don't want to spoil stories.
It would work for them because they're all left-handed.
Dang it! They're the left-handed brothers. We weren't supposed to reveal that so quickly.
Story reveal. Spoiler alert.
And whenever they kill someone, they go left hand,
Left-hand bros.
and then they go up to people that are like right-handed, like you right-handed.
And then they chop
They
off
don't shoot
their
them.
hand.
No, they just go. That's not cool. They're not violent.
No, they're very sweet guys.
Yeah, like, we don't really.
They
like
give
that.
them money and they say, "I'm so sorry for your loss."
Right hand.
I don't know. So sorry you're not left-handed. Well, that was a good joke. I'm glad we fit that left-handed joke in there.
We are hitting all our demographics tonight.
Through the journey of writing these characters, what is something about one of the characters that has resonated with you personally? There's a lot of characters.
I have a big problem with confusion. Like it induces anxiety in me. Like literally, I feel sick. A lot of mental health stuff connected to it, and I need answers. I don't crave it like a grizzled detective in like a noir film, but it definitely is something that has made me act inappropriately before because I feel like I just need to know the answer. I need it really bad. And there is a character in this that is driven solely, I feel, by answers along with several other things, but answers to something, inquisitiveness in a kind of obsessive manner is something that I do connect to. Definitely.
I thought this was a joke the whole time for you to say that
You were waiting to laugh?
you
Fart.
didn't. The question is confusing you.
And so I don't get the question.
And so can
At
you
all.
please restate the question because I forgot.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean that's a hard question. I feel like there are so many characters in that each character, when you're trying to develop them and trying to turn them into a real person, you go through a gamut of things that you like and dislike about them. I don't know if that's really maybe not the question or the answer to the question, but
And also in a way, no matter what, you're putting a little bit of yourself or your opinion on something or your opinion on how
Right.
a person should feel into every character.
right.
There's definitely things that are there, and that's what bleeds through. That's what makes one writer different than another, for sure. It'll be much easier to talk about the process of every character once the story's out there, because we're also trying to walk very carefully around lines, and a lot of like character motivation are major plot points.
Yeah, it's hard.
Right.
That is another thing that is difficult is you want people to kind of to read and discover themselves. You don't really want to tell them about it. So that is hard. That is one thing that's hard about this kind of stream, and that's why it was easier to do this thing when it wasn't about this, right? When we were coming up with characters on the spot, and that was a little bit different. Some questions that I want to answer is kind of generic to Kickstarter, is talking about two things: is transparency about the comic, the graphic novel, and how it's coming along. We use comic and graphic novel interchangeably because there's really no standard definition for either, but also because we do want more of this universe, but this particular series that we are working on now is a finite beginning to end graphic novel. So we'll just say that. Yeah. But anyway, talking about transparency and like how far we're coming along and keeping people regularly updated and stuff like that. And one thing that we'd like to do is these streams to keep them open to people and to show that we are working on it. You know, you can see the changes, whether it's week by week or month by month or whatever, we're able to fit it in. We need to figure that out because right now all of our schedules are kind of getting chaotic individually. I have a lot of traveling for work coming up and yeah, so different things, but we want to start doing these streams more consistently for the actual book. So for the actual kickstarted book, we want to do
want to point out,
consistency.
because our schedule is chaotic doesn't mean that we are not going to be working on the comic during those times. The chaotic schedule is how we could all be together and set aside time
right
at one time to do this. But
exactly.
the comic will be like next time we will not be just back on this comic. We will be on a brand new page again. So it will still be progressed. And as things kind of settle into September, we'll try to be shooting for like a weekly stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks,
Good
Gary.
job.
Thanks,
I was
Gary.
really nervous to say that. Glad I got you in my corner, man.
That was good.
Thank you,
That
Gary.
was good.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, and everyone's been super supportive, and I absolutely get scared every single time that I need to post an update or a comment or something, you know. I get terrified and go down a rabbit hole in my head of like everyone who's backed us is hating us and everyone wants to back out and get refunds and, you know, this and that, and that's not true. And while, you know, we have given refunds to anyone who's asked for it, we've been able to do that. Everyone's been really, really supportive, and it's awesome. And the main thing that we hear is keep on going, guys. You know, you got it. You can do it. We're just happy that you're working on it, you know? So thank you to everybody who's out there and who's really being so great and awesome. You guys are great. Except for Frank. Wait.
Frankenbeans?
Francis? What did I call him? Doesn't matter. Brad? Except for Brad. Brad's been a real jerk. I'm not going to refund you, Brad.
Who's Brad?
He's made up.
Oh.
He's a made up jerk. Brad.
Yeah, David, we're gonna try to, we're gonna be back on that, and we will be doing these streams as well to kind of keep people like just constantly in the loop, because this is Avengers Endgame right now. Like we're trucking hard. Brad the butt. Okay,
I think, you
please
know,
keep profanity out the.
Maybe I shouldn't
Yeah.
say this, but I'm
Don't
gonna say
swear.
it anyway. You know, we wanted. The plan was to get this on a consistent basis, right? So like every this day of the week at this time, you know, we're going to be consistently streaming. The only reason we didn't kind of announce that or sticking to that is just because the next couple weeks, that everyone's schedule kind of being a little crazy.
We'd like to do Thursday in the weekday someday, and it seems like the next 2 weeks every day one of us isn't here.
Yeah. So
One or the other.
Will's going out of state, Gary's going out of town, and my work schedule amplifies next week. So I got to be driving, and it's going to be a little chaotic. So it hasn't quite stabilized yet. So we really can't figure out a date right now at the second.
But after the 2 weeks, we will be trying to set up a rate.
We'll
regular
absolutely figure it out. And if it's not regular, like starting out, obviously that's not that big of a problem. We'll announce whenever we're going to do it, and we'll do it. But we would eventually like to get to a point where it is like, join us on Must See TV, you know,
Yeah.
TGIF.
Okay, but we won't be saying that. And
Why?
We won't use Anthony now.
We won't. Why not?
Because you're terrible at it, Anthony. I keep on telling you. It's like you don't get the picture. think that you're made to be the next SNL announcer. It's not funny. You
No.
don't have-
Okay. Well,
Gary, don't get started right now. I told you not to interrupt my chastisement.
I mean, real quick though. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Gary. Go ahead, Gary.
If anyone could do it, I mean,
No, don't get started with this again. It's just gonna. That's the reason we lost
Yeah.
a whole year of this comic.
Yeah,
Is that we
yeah,
all had to
yeah.
support his announcer stage. It's just.
it probably
Anthony went through that announcer phase.
He's like the whole comic. It's an announcement.
All right,
Get
here
rid
we
of
go,
all the
guys. I was schlupping it in the minor leagues, just waiting for my big chance.
Now in the big time.
Never came.
Yeah, but he would say that. He would say live. It was live from New York. It's Saturday night, but he would say live from New York.
New
He
York.
couldn't stop saying York, and he just bombed the edition.
I don't hear how it's different. I don't hear what I'm saying. New York.
From New York.
New York.
It's Saturday night. Blah blah blah. And that's what happened every time. And he thought it was perfect. I don't know.
I still don't hear it. I still don't hear what I'm doing wrong. New York.
You're saying York.
What,
York.
New York. What do you say? What do you say?
New.
Red leather, yellow leather. Unique New York.
Brad.
Unique New York. It's so hard to see
New
that.
York. New York.
You need unique New York.
Alright, cool.
Cool. Joke over. Joke over.
Yeah, we're done. We're backing out. Sorry, guys.
This,
the comic does.
I mean, there are so many different phases of this that I really dig, but I think watching the line art is.
The line art's the coolest part.
I think it's the
Because I feel like
coolest
the
part.
line art. I feel like honestly, sometimes I'm like the line art could just be the whole comic book style.
Yeah, I mean,
Not
more
good.
than
It looks cool.
I do dig like when he was painting the guy who's coming on the right hand side, who's coming around the corner, and how he just kind of like fudged and created or filled in value and removed value and just like created this human shape. Like that is really, really cool too. But I think this phase here with the line art is the coolest part.
It's cool also because just how Photoshop works, and you can just, I don't know, seeing the thing swipe and then only filling in certain parts and very lightly is very pleasing to see. I like it.
well, I'm glad you like Photoshop.
Knock on wood, it hasn't crashed yet.
No, I have a Photoshop. I haven't. Yeah, seriously, knock on. Let me save. Did I save at all?
Oh my god.
It crashes right then. We lose everything.
No, honestly, the amount of times that Premiere has crashed for me while I'm saving is like within the hundreds over the years, within the hundreds. And every single time I leave a scathing error message reply. Every single, yeah, no, that's what it is every single time. Because you're so mad that you lost, who knows how much time you lost. I've definitely lost like 3-4 hours of work because of a bad save.
I've never lost anything in my life.
Really?
Not a thing.
It's too bad for you.
I don't know what it feels like to lose. Baby.
All right. Why am I so attracted to you right now?
So, pure masculinity.
I've never lost before, baby. You should go to Vegas.
No, I don't take advantage of it.
Oh, okay. I see. I see.
I don't buy any lotto tickets.
The most moral man on earth.
It's a struggle.
It's like a really, 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 really bad 60s show.
The most moral man on earth.
He
wins
never
at everything.
loses anything.
Is this your corner? Did you drop it? No, ma'am. I don't lose anything. Zooms in on my face.
Somehow lasted for 13 seasons. It's like all those cop shows, and she's like, how is there 12 seasons of this?
Most episodes is just people coming up to me asking me if I lost something.
Nope.
Nope.
Just keep on walking down the street.
I like this. Let's make this.
All right, Gary, Start over.
Wipe it.
Alright.
It's a classic. We'll shake him up. Let's go.
Oh man. All right, boys. How you feeling?
Feeling good.
It's been an hour and a half. Gary, how close you to get into a little section you can stop at?
All right, go find the Mongol so you can
I mean,
get to the save point.
I can stop now. I've been on my computer all day. My eyes are bleeding.
All right.
So,
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. It's awesome that you came and showed us some support and hung out with us.
Thanks all. We'll be back. I will be wearing less of a open shirt.